Is it hard for you to get leaner, and do you think it's your hormones? Watch this.
Our first caller is Kelly from Virginia.
Hi, Kelly. How can we help you?
Hello. Thank you for having me. How are you guys?
Very good.
We're doing amazing.
So cool to see you guys. Well, just thank you guys so much for having me on. You had answered a previous questions about MAPS performance and me being gassed. The question's a little similar, but very. I don't know. I think it's a little bit more. A little more detailed in terms of some of the struggles I've been having over the past few years. So just thank you for everything that you guys do for me and for everyone else.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So thank you. So I'll just read from my question. Over the past 3 years, I've had a goal of decreasing my body fat percentage to below 30%, but for some reason can't seem to break it. I've been lifting consistently since 2020 with, I guess I've been working out previous to that, but like really lifting with your programs since around 2020 and had been pretty dialed in with nutrition and activity levels. And per some of the guidance from your previous episodes, I started going into a bulk for the better half of last year. So most of 2022, but sprinkled in mini cuts and like kind of maintenance phases throughout. The scale had been pretty stagnant, but I was really happy because I was like slowly increasing on all of my core lifts, which I know is a big cue for you guys. But I was feeling pretty good, wanted to get kind of a base level of where I was. And I went to get a DEXA scan back in May or June. And it still said that I was around 30% body fat. I have been kind of at a maintenance at that point. And, you know, I walk 8,000 to 10,000 steps generally per day. I try to think, you know, I tend to think that I'm pretty healthy, like lifestyle wise, don't really drink too much anymore. And so, the guy who did my scan, I had a nutritionist call. They encouraged me to look at my hormone levels. And after going through Stephen Cabral and his team, found that my cortisol levels were really high. My progesterone was also really low. And that there's, you know, some correlation between, or potentially correlation between. So I guess I'm just confused about how to break through on my body fat goals. Is it related to my cortisol? Do I just need to move more? Am I making excuses for myself? So just trying to tease out exactly where I'm at and how I can break through it. Because I don't know. I feel like I shouldn't be super neurotic about my health and nutrition. I don't think it's like super helpful, but you know, 30% body fat. I don't know. I just feel like getting it under 30 as a female is important. So yeah, just would love to get your take.
There's nothing inherently wrong with being 30%. Are you just afraid? Is it the number that you saw the number and you're like, I want to get that down? Or is it that you feel like you want to be leaner as well?
Yeah, you know, I think it's kind of two things, like selfishly, you know, and honestly, of course, just want to look like I work out. I think I kind of do sometimes, but I think I'm really strong in the gym and I feel really good. I'm in power lift right now, and I've loved it. I did strong before this, so went from anabolic to strong to power lift, and I've been loving it. And I don't know, I just feel like I don't look the way I lift. And maybe that's just subjective, but well, yeah, it is subjective, but there's that. But then also, you know, my husband and I are starting to try again, and I've just been encouraged, you know, maybe, you know, just to have a healthier pregnancy, you know, just to work on my body fat. So it's a little bit just more like health and longevity wise, and goal wise, but then also, yeah, like selfishly, just a number I really want to reach.
Would this be your first kid?
This would be my second.
Okay.
So,
how did you feel when you were pregnant with your first? Did you feel really good during pregnancy?
No, it was kind of a complicated pregnancy. My son was born at 28 weeks. Okay. So, you know, they didn't have any real rhyme or reason. There was no like diagnosis as to why he was born preterm. Yeah, you know, I didn't have like the best lifestyle at the time too. I was young and
Okay.
Yeah, I
Well,
was young.
your body fat percentage is fine for pregnancy. 25 to 30% would be fine for most women. Let's talk a little bit about the hormones. High cortisol, low progesterone. Are you familiar with the signs and symptoms of estrogen dominance? Have you looked that up?
Yeah. And it resonates very
Okay.
much. And I've been working on, taking magnesium. I've been working on sleeping and stress. And I will say I haven't rechecked my hormones over the past 2, 3 months, but I do like physically feel better. Like I can bounce back from, and not feel so bloated after a weekend away, that sort of thing. There are just like certain symptoms I feel like are getting better, but estrogen dominance is definitely I think I probably feel through that.
That can often come from gut issues, right? So your body's ability to clear estrogen might be a little compromised. So typically this looks like digestive issues, constipation would be a common one. And can that affect your body fat percentage? I mean, it can through behaviors. Cortisol definitely is a reflection of your body, your ability to manage and handle the stress that you currently have. So either that would be a lifestyle thing or a relationship with a lifestyle thing. It could be one of each or both in that particular sense. As far as getting leaner is concerned, it's a very basic approach, right? Take your maintenance calories, cut them, eat a high protein diet, and then you should get leaner. But if there's an underlying gut issue that is the root cause of the low progesterone, high cortisol, you're going to want to address that first before you start to really try to tackle getting leaner with diet. Otherwise, it's going to be an uphill battle. So I don't know exactly what route you're on with the practitioners with Dr. Cabral's team. I'm assuming though they're looking at gut health and they're moving you in that direction, and that might be why you feel better. Am I hitting the nail on the head, or are you guys doing other stuff?
Well, I mean, it was the consultation. It was like a 30-minute or maybe an hour long consultation. And they pointed me in the direction of different supplements and like what tests I could take. I was like, let me try to figure out like some of the actionable things first, like sleeping better and, reducing my stress and stuff before I get into that. But they did mention gut issue stuff potentially.
How's your digestion?
I think it's actually okay. I think it's okay. There was a month span where it was totally off. But I think I just like was drinking too much tea or something, and I figured it out. But on a day-to-day, I think it's actually okay.
Okay.
I had a question about you made a comment about being neurotic about calories in tracking is you don't think it's very healthy, and then in your notes you have that you are eating between 1900 and 2100, which leads me to believe that is that a guesstimation, or are you actually weighing and tracking food?
I was.
Okay.
I was really focused in 22 and the early part of this year on my calories. But I think like I'm just the type of person when they told me that my cortisol levels were high, I was stressing out about how to get my cortisol levels down. Yeah. So I was like, I don't, I want to approach this in a more, I guess, healthy way. But that was accurate. I had bulked up to 2,600, 2,700, and I was doing okay. But then I went down to about 2,100, and then like the mini cuts, I did 1,900 too. So
you could
but I haven't.
If you were my client, I would definitely have you work with the functional medicine practitioner, just kind of get the root issue of the low progesterone. My guess is it has to do with your digestion, and you're not clearing estrogen out of your body properly. So you get a little bit of estrogen dominance going on there. That's not my field, so I'm using an educated guess, I would say, but I would work with them. And then the cut, I would do 5 days a week of 1,500 calories, and then I would do 2 days a week of 2,000 calories. It'll be a slow cut. You're not going to see like rapid fat loss doing it that way, but that's okay. I don't want you to go too quickly considering everything you've told me. So it's like a 5-day cut, 2-day maintenance. I think that would be a perfectly fine approach, so long as you also address what's happening with your hormones and get to the root cause. Because if there is a gut issue, that's going on, this is going to be a constant struggle. And what'll happen with the cut is you'll find cravings are going to kick in, or hormones will work against you, and you may find your body trying to lose muscle rather than body fat as a result.
Yeah, I earlier in 22, I had done a cut like prior to the bulk. I had done not a drastic cut. I think probably 1,500 or something. And I went to get a DEXA scan, and I had increased body fat, lost muscle, and I was like, what is going on? And right now, like I feel great. Like I feel like I'm doing great, and I'm like progressing on the lifts. I think it's also just by virtue of doing power lift. It's just new to me, and like I don't know, you have like measurable weights and that you increase every few weeks or whatever, and so that's been really good. But I think that's totally the addressing the underlying issues.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a big deal, but I do think that it's a very straightforward approach. I'm very confident that if you kind of did what I said, you're going to get there. It'll be a slow process, but you'll see your body transform in the direction you want. So it's literally a 5-day cut, 2-day maintenance, but be very consistent. I would work with the function. I would do the tests that they recommended that you take. I'm assuming they did they wanted you to do some gut health testing, probably food sensitivity and a stool test to see, if you have any bacterial overgrowth. And then I would take it from there. I would also make sure you drank a good amount of water on a regular basis. So close to a gallon of water a day, half a gallon to a gallon of water a day. And I would just start there and take it from there. And it's pretty straightforward. I think it'll be very straightforward if you do it that way. I think you should see a nice, probably 2% loss in body fat on a month, every month. So that's what I would expect, about 2% down every 30 days or so, which is a nice consistent cut. And I don't think it's so much. I don't think it will compromise your fertility either if you're trying to have a baby. Now I will say this: if you get pregnant, I would stop trying to go in a deficit. So if you do get pregnant, then I would forget about tracking. I would just eat when I was hungry, stick to healthy food, and continue lifting. It's not smart to try to go in a cut when you're pregnant. That's a terrible idea.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. No, that's super helpful. It's funny because I'm 30 years old, and I'm kind of in this in between where a lot of my friends either are in the same life stage as me, where they're having kids and married, but some of them are still single and partying and whatever. And so you see all these people, like a lot of my single friends that are eating like crap and drinking every weekend. I'm like, well, how do you look like that? Yeah. And so I think, it is something of a mix of just addressing the underlying issue. Because I'm so consistent. Like I walk every day, I work out every day. I'm so good about this stuff. How is this
you're fit and healthy. You're fit and healthy. Yeah. You're doing okay. Yeah. I think you're being a little harsh on yourself. Yeah. But there's probably something underlying that is making it a little bit more challenging. So I think you have a valid question. By the way, in regards to the friends that you see that are doing that, would you trade places with them? Do you want to be the single girl at 30 going out trying to meet people? Yeah. When you got a nice husband and kid at home, I think you're okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, with the dating apps and stuff, I can't imagine.
Oh my God,
no, I'm good.
And you're on the right track with your mindset and the program you're following too. So I think that's great what you're doing.
After powerlift, I would go MAPS anabolic. I wouldn't do anything with super high volume though, until you really figure out what's going on with the hormone situation. But estrogen dominance, I would look it up. Mm-hmm. Read about it. It typically has to do with the digestive system and your ability to clear out estrogen out of your body. And usually you'll see issues with fully clearing. So like digestive issues that look more like constipation and bloating, typically.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right.
Will do. Thank you.
All right, Kelly. By the way, do you have MAPS anabolic? Because if you don't, I'll send it to you.
Oh yeah, I have like everything. You guys have. I'm
cool.
Major consumer of the Mind Pump.
Are you in our forum,
and
Kelly?
I got my husband on you guys too. It's we always say Mind Pump.
If you're not in our forum, I'll let you in our forum too, Kelly, so we can follow up with you.
That'd be great. Yeah, thank you so much.
We'll put you in there.
Awesome.
Thanks, Kelly.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
You got it. pretty straightforward. I think that's gonna. I mean, like I said, if she was my client, it would be very straightforward the direction we would go, unless something really weird.
Yeah, definitely the
popped up.
gut health direction with the functional medicine.
That's where I mean that's where I would look. It
First
could be
thing.
something else, but that's exactly where.
Yeah, I
would
wanted
just
to
to navigate.
I wanted to address what she said about pregnancy and healthy. There is a little bit of a misconception on body fat percentage and what's healthy for a woman to get pregnant. I think you assume. In fact, one of the things that when Katrina and I were first trying to get pregnant, we struggled with was that her body fat percentage wasn't
Too
high
low.
enough.
Oh yeah,
It was
And that's
too
she's
low.
not even she wasn't even dieting. She was just what we would consider healthy, athletic, making good food
yeah.
choices.
They probably told her to gain body fat.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we were having a hard time getting pregnant. And the doctor said, honestly, maybe try to put on a little bit of body fat. And she was like, what?
Yeah.
Again, because in her head, she's like, I don't feel lean and ripped or anywhere
Yeah.
near that right now. I'd like to be leaner. And he's like, yeah, but not ideal for getting pregnant. So honestly, between that 20 to 25 minimum on the low end and then 30 is not bad at all. It's
No.
not, it doesn't have like adverse effects until you start getting really high.
Yeah.
In the,
And it
in
really
the-
depends on the person. I mean,
Yeah.
generally, once you start to get above 30, you might notice some stuff, but I mean, like you said, between 25 to 30, I mean, you're fine. Especially if you're fit and you everything else.
Yeah,
is
your
good.
strength training, you're active.
Right.
Yeah.